kind of adjust. Can everybody hear me, or is it not loud enough? People at the back, because they're not reacting, so maybe they can't hear me. So, yeah? You're okay? You can hear me? Hey! Huh? Maybe a little bit louder. Maybe can we turn up the volume a little bit? Yeah, I need to keep talking so that.
It's okay now?
Huh?
No, it's better?
I don't know. You have the right switch?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Anybody knows how to use that thing? Anyway, I'll keep talking. Well, good morning. I'm quite surprised that so many people are here. So you know it's all about emptiness. No, but yeah, perfect. Thank you. So when they first asked me to teach about emptiness, I first started laughing because you know it's a very, very profound subject, and one can go very quickly into misapprehension that one doesn't really understand what it means. But then I thought, okay, let's try together. You know, me ignorant, you ignorant, and so we do it together, and then we see if we can figure out something. Exactly what emptiness is all about. Because the first mistake that we're making very quickly, you know, the whole thing, it kind of makes sense that there is an absence of inherent, real, or independent existence. But then very quickly one goes into kind of that nothing exists, okay? So that is not the case. That at all costs has to be avoided. So, so what one starts to understand first is that there's two levels of existence. And one of them is not true, but the other one is true. But that one that is true has no function, because that is the lack of independent or inherent or real or, you know, existence under its own power. Autonomous sometimes is called like this, okay? So, you know, if you don't understand something, just bear with me, because you have to hear these things again and again and again and again. And I think with this whole topic of emptiness, this is the most difficult thing to understand, because if we would understand it, we wouldn't be suffering. If we would understand it, we would not be under the control of our negative emotions that we don't want to have. Because it was quite amazing also yesterday when we talked about death and you know, meditation. What would I have to regret if I would have to die now? What's the first thing that comes up for quite a few people? Do you remember? Anger. Having been angry. Yeah. So we don't have control over our anger, but we can see where it comes from, why there is anger. And then by seeing the root of it, then maybe we can do something. So Buddhism is not so much about good and bad. You know, we the Buddhists are the good guys, and all the others are the bad guys, or whatever. So it's not, because the problem is if you have two groups and there's conflict, the problem is that both groups themselves, they think that they are the good guys, and they have to kind of, you know, do something with the bad guys instead of just leaving them alone. So Buddhism is more like wisdom against, I don't want to say stupidity, I also don't want to say ignorance. Wisdom against wrong knowing. Because we do know something, but what we know is not right. So our suffering that we have, and then our reaction to the suffering comes from, very often also it's called lacking awareness. I see some people nod. So we lack awareness, so where can we buy it? How can we get awareness? Do we have awareness? Do we have it? Of course. Otherwise we wouldn't be able to perceive anything. Like even when we're sleeping, when we're dreaming, there is a certain kind of awareness, something is going on. The awareness, just like a mirror has the ability to reflect. Yeah, that is the nature of the mirror, or this is this ability. So same way, our mind has the ability to be aware, to know. And the cleaner our mind is, the better it will know. The more awake and the more aware our mind is in the present, not bringing all the experiences from the past also to the present, not thinking about all what will happen in the future to the present. The more we're really able to stay just there, then we will see things as they are. So the suffering and our being controlled by negative emotions actually comes from this lacking awareness. So now we have a lot of mindfulness groups and many people who practice mindfulness, which is a very good thing. But then very often what I feel is like the purpose of doing that is missing. Yeah. So, you know, we want to be mindful, to be peaceful and to be calm and all this is nice, it's okay. But that's not actually what it's for. It is for us to see that first, not so much to see reality as it is outside, but I think for us first to see that we do have wrong perceptions, that we do have wrong views, and we totally hold on to them. And because these wrong views are very strong, for us they are right. For a fully awakened being, what we see is wrong, but for us what we see seems to be right, and therefore we act upon this. And I think this you can see when you have two people have a conflict, and two people have different views. Each one is totally convinced that his or her views are right. And the other one is totally convinced that my views are right and yours are wrong. Yeah. So this is one of the first steps, to be really open to that fact, that whatever I perceive, whatever my mind picks up, the mind either takes something away, but definitely adds something to it, which is not there. But because the mind is adding it, it looks as if it's there. How can I give you an example? Okay, if you look at your face in the mirror in the morning, yeah, do you do that? Yeah, I don't. So, you know, in case you see something on my face or between my teeth or whatever, please let me know, because I don't look at myself anymore. I have no hair, so what shall I look at? What shall I do? You know, I don't have makeup. I don't have hair. It's okay. So then sometimes I'm not aware. But let's say you look in the mirror in the morning, and there's a spot on the mirror, but where you have your face, the spot seems to be here. And you're convinced that the spot is here, and you go, but the spot doesn't go away. Why? Because you are rubbing in the wrong place. Yeah. But because we kind of reuse the reflection in the mirror. Yeah. So that's also an example that they use with the emptiness. You understand that the face in the mirror is not a real face. This is why when there is a spot on your face, you're not going to rub on the mirror. Yeah? I mean, you can try, but nothing will work. So you just use the reflection and you rub in the right place. Because you know that, although, you know, for the mind, if the mind would believe what the mind sees, it would rub there and not here. But the mind doesn't believe it because the mind has learned that this is just a reflection. Okay? Okay. So I would like to start also with something from Albert Einstein, which I like very much because it goes very much with what one is trying to do when you practice awareness, what the purpose of this awareness is. It is to get rid of wrong views, actually. Yeah? But if you don't even know that you're having wrong views, your mindfulness meditation actually, it can enforce that false sense of I. Oh wow, I'm such a great meditator. Don't come and destroy my peace now that I have created in my meditation. And then you get very angry at the people will destroy your peace. It's their fault. I was so peaceful sitting in meditation, now you come, and now the whole peace is destroyed. Yeah. Do you have a feeling like that sometimes when you come home from a retreat? Yeah. So you miss the purpose of your retreat. The purpose of your retreat is not to feel peaceful in the retreat. The purpose of your retreat is to make your mind so sharp that you start to understand, I have a choice how I want to react to the mess when I come home. I can either freak out and I can get really upset, and get angry, or I can just start cleaning up, for example. Maybe the getting upset and getting angry gives you a bit more energy to clean up. But you might break some glasses and you might break some plates, maybe also because the energy is too strong. So this is what the mindfulness is for. The mindfulness is for in order for us to really understand that what we usually perceive, that we mistake it as true, but it's only something that our mind reflects. Yeah. So I took this way also, I took the telephone, so I will read out some very clever things that, I read these things, I understand them, but then repeating them, I'm not capable. So I prefer to read it out so that then you get the right thing. So from Albert Einstein, and then we do a short reflection on this. He says, a human being is part of the whole, not a whole, but everything, yeah, that we called by us the universe. A part limited in space and time. He experiences himself, his thoughts and his feelings as something separated from the rest, and this is a kind of optical delusion, like a wrong view of his consciousness, like an optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Now our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening the circle of compassion to embrace all living creature and the whole of nature in its beauty. So this is the task, to see that our dualistic thinking, like me here and others there, that this is kind of wrong. And we'll do a short reflection, because when it comes to emptiness, it's not about here. Here you understand very quickly. But when it comes to emptiness, we have to experience how things appear to us and how we think that they exist. You have to experience it, because otherwise you think you have understood, but we haven't. Yes?
Could you read it again?
Huh?
Could you read that again?
When I read it again, you go into the Google and you go Albert Einstein and you start, a human being is, and then it comes. And actually some of the quotes are, it continues. I found one in German, so sometimes you ask, what's the real quote? But as long as it fulfills the purpose, so that it speaks to you, so that it kind of touches something in you, whether it's really Albert Einstein or somebody else. Me, honestly, I don't care. It's okay. But I read in one of them also that he continues saying that it's not possible to do this. Maybe he meant in one lifetime. To embrace the whole of, like, all sentient beings and the whole of nature. He said it's not possible to do it, but just trying it will give you mental stability. So just trying to do it will really help you to be mentally much more stable. Okay, so we do a short reflection. You can just straighten your back if you can. It will be very short, just to experience something. You connect you to your body, what we always do, and then we'll be thinking about this quote, so then it becomes a bit more. Okay. So close your eyes, connect to the body, and come to the present, and really check, how do I experience myself? Me, I, here in this place. And don't go into thoughts. Really go into belly feelings here. Do we see ourselves as a part of the universe? Maybe in the head, but in the heart, down in the belly. A part of something, if we are aware of being a part of something, we wouldn't go me and the others. We would think us. There's different parts, so I am a part, I'm not other people. I am an individual, but I'm not thinking, when I understand that I'm part of the universe, I'm not thinking me and them, or me and others, I would be thinking us. The same way as we understand the hand and the foot are part, or my hand, my foot, are part of the same body. Or me and my children or my grandchildren are a part of the same family. So we react differently, we feel differently. Me as part of the universe, and I try to think of the whole universe. You need to really expand your mind. You need to really come out of this ego thing that seems quite huge, but all of a sudden it becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel small and then you feel bad? Oh, I'm so small, I'm so insignificant. Or maybe does it give you a certain sense of freedom, space, openness? Then again, come back to your I, me, to the body, to the mind. And try to detect that feeling that somehow I have to be special, or I am special. Don't judge it, we all have it. How does that make you feel? More space, less space, more fear, less fear, more freedom, less freedom. Just observe, just experience what these views, what kind of emotions or feelings or even body experiences, what they produce. The difference between me, a part of the universe, an important part of the universe, yes, but only a part. And the other one, me, being special. Is it the same? Do you feel the same when you go me part of the universe or me very special or little special? Do you feel some difference? Somebody? Huh? Yeah. So what seems to be better? It doesn't have to be good or bad, you know. For some people it's like this, for other people it's like that.
Being part of the universe, it felt more stable in a way, and it made you special and very chic.
Okay.
No round.
Okay. Anybody else?
Being as a part, like not as a part, being separate and special and all these things, it felt limited.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I need to hold and keep doing and keep letting. Body felt not so good.
Mm-hmm.
And being part, it felt unlimited, like very a lot of flow, a lot of change, better.
Better, yeah. So Einstein is right, isn't it? We have to get rid of that optical illusion that our mind is kind of producing. So maybe just for yourself, you know, think about this. We have a very instinctive feeling of me special. That is there, and this is where all the nervousness is coming from, because we're not special, you know. Everybody wants to be special, but we're not. Very ordinary. Everybody, if people don't know you, then you're not extraordinarily beautiful or ugly or you know, tall or small or fat or thin or whatever. People won't notice you, and you become a lump of flesh for them. You know, we ourselves, we never feel like a lump of flesh, but when we walk through the train station and it's full of people, most of them are just a lump of flesh, isn't it? And then when we know one person, then our attention goes there. Then that lump of flesh is still the same lump of flesh, but then we can see how the mind adds things to it, you know. Or if it's somebody that you don't know, then, as I'm saying, because they're either extraordinarily tall, small, fat, thin, beautiful, ugly, clothes, hats, or whatever. Yeah. So then again, it's because your mind is there, then it starts to add. And so what the mind is adding also is, or you know, good and bad, on the relative level, there are things that are good and bad, but then the mind latches onto that and makes it inherently good or bad, and then we start to fight it. So there's different ways of perceiving objects. It can be the same object. You see an object and it's neither good nor bad, you just see it, but you see it and that's it. There's another way of perceiving an object and really seeing this is good or this is bad. And just, yeah, that's how it is, you know. Or if you go through an area and you go, wow, here it really stinks, because for us it seems to be an unpleasant smell, but maybe you're in the car, so you don't care so much because you just pass it. Yeah, you don't develop aversion or whatever, you just say it stinks. Or maybe if you are in Spain, or maybe here also, I don't know, in an orange grove in the spring, where they all have these little white flowers. Yeah, you must know that smell. Yeah, and so you go through this orange grove, it's not yours, but you just go through it and you go, it smells nice, it's okay. That's not what is called attachment, okay? Because you can go, for me it smells nice. For somebody else, maybe, you know, another being, an animal or whatever, it doesn't smell nice. Maybe for a dog it's too intense and they suffer. I don't know. I don't know dog minds, but we never know. Then we make it, so that's okay until there. But then we make it inherently good or inherently bad. Yeah. So there might be some beings that are attracted by what we call bad smell. Smell of cacao or something like that. I mean, it definitely attracts flies. I don't know if they're attracted through the smell or through the form or through what. Yeah, but so they must see something pleasant in there. Whereas we don't. Yeah, for us it's like ooh. For us it's then inherently ooh, or inherently like the orange flowers. inherently good. So this is already, it's good to see that the mind is adding that like real good, real bad. And then of course, then immediately you have, if it's really good, you want to get it or to keep it if it's already yours. And then you get desire, and when you have it, you start to have attachment. Or it's really bad, and you want to be rid of it. And then in order to fulfill these two emotions, kind of, because they want something, that's why they're called emotions. They move, they make you do things, they make you say things, they make you think, how can I get rid of it, how can I get that thing? And then you create what is called actions. And then these actions are not based on reality. They are based on an exaggerated view of this is really good and this is really bad. Yeah, you all know the story about the Chinese peasant, the Chinese farmer. Yeah? Everybody knows it? Somebody doesn't know it? If you don't know it, then I tell it again. It's okay. Anyway, so he had a beautiful stallion, a male horse. Yeah? So the horse ran away, and the people in the village, they came, oh, wow, you lost your horse, this is really bad. And the peasants, the farmer said, well, good, bad, I don't know. And so then after a while, this male horse came back with a beautiful female horse. So then the people came and said, wow, this is really good, now you have two horses. And then the farmer said, good, bad, who knows? Then the son was trying to tame that female horse so he could ride it, but she was so wild that he fell off and broke his leg, and then he couldn't work in the field anymore. So again, you know, the neighbors come and say, oh, this is really bad, your son was supposed now to work in the fields, he broke his leg. That's really bad. And again the farmer says, good or bad? Who knows? Then a war broke out, and all the healthy men had to go to the war. And so the son couldn't go because he had a broken leg. Good or bad? We don't know. So it's good if we, you know, in everything there's something good, and in everything there's something negative. So I think we spend our lives also to desperately look for something that is just good. But because of our dualistic thinking, it cannot be just good. Or what we try to do, like on a relative level, we try to drop all the bad, we try to get rid of all the bad, but at the same time we get rid of the good. Because good in our terms, for our unrealized mind, can only be good because you know bad. And the good and the bad is in your head, it's not outside. This is the thing. This is what we don't see. Yeah. So actually realizing or understanding this, it gives you a lot of power to be able to live your life in a happy way, even though if, you know, everything falls apart. Yeah. Like also when some people sometimes they say, I don't know if you say that in Hebrew, but people say, oh, I feel like as if I'm standing with my back against the wall. Yeah. This wall is totally imagined. That wall is never there. It will continue, maybe worse than it is now, but there is no wall. But sometimes we kind of, again, our mind creates a feeling as if like this I cannot go on. And then also from the Buddhist point of view, it's like it will go on anyway because you will be reborn. So the mind, you cannot destroy the mind. In case for people who are here for the first time, mind is not the brain. Because if mind would be the brain, then of course there is no rebirth and no possible. Because you don't see at the time of death, you don't see the skull going open and then the brain flying out. Also, it would be far too big for a baby, so it's like that is part of the body. It kind of goes, and so the mind uses the brain. Yeah, so you have lots of books now and